Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Helen Noble, celebrant of Surrey and founder of Swan Song, and I am here to give you tips and tricks and info and all things helpful ceremony, be that wedding, naming, funeral, whatever. But it's mainly weddings and funerals. So subscribe, hit the bell for your weekly dose of all things ceremonial. This week, I'm talking the word wedding trends. It's everywhere. Here's what you need to know. Yes, there is so much information out there re wedding trends. There are blogs about it, there's stylists talking about it, there's wedding planners sharing what their forecast is for the year ahead, there's photographers explaining what they've seen, what they think there's coming, there's brides that are now blogging because they loved wedding planning so much that they now want to talk about it some more and what they've spotted. There's other people just talking about they're at the age where you're literally going to weddings left, right, and centre because everyone around you is going to get married, and they're spotting all these things, and it's all very lovely, but it can be really overwhelming. And you might be, as a perhaps engaged person yourself, thinking, "What do you mean? What's my theme? I'm having a wedding. Surely wedding is my theme. Bride and groom, or bride and bride, or groom and groom, or us." And I hear you. I was completely on the page. I kept getting asked, "What's your theme for your wedding?" And I kept thinking, marriage? But hindsight's a lovely thing. And actually, what I would say is the most helpful tip or question to actually ask, rather than what is your theme, is what style do you want your wedding to be in? Because the style is where the theme comes out of. But even going deeper than that, when people say, "What's your style?" actually, what they're meaning is, what are your values? What's important to you? What has informed the decisions you have already made thus far? And let's stick with those. Therefore, start with what you already have. So, you already hopefully have a fiance. You might already have a ring. What do those two have in common? Are they both quite retro? Are they both shiny and sparkly? Are they both really strong? Like, if you're at the very early start of your wedding planning journey, please, please, please don't freak out about what you don't have. The answers will already be in you. So look at what you do have. You have a fiance. Maybe you've had a proposal. Actually, where was that proposal? Was it amazing? Were you a bit like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming"? And did that make you happy? And then you start picking those things. You're like, "Actually, God, I really love surprises. I did not see that coming and I loved it." Or you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't see that coming and it totally threw me out the water." And I was like, "What?" And so from that, you already know what energy you want. You love surprises. You love that seize the day. You love that they took the reins perhaps and you didn't have to organise it for a change. Or you loved that it was planned and you did talk about it and it had been on the cards for ages, and actually you went ring shopping together. And therefore, what's important to you is balance and sharing and doing it together. So stick with that. And you're like, actually, it's about union. So what do we do together? What has been our journey so far that we've loved? And it might be you've been traveling together, and so you start, going down that actually we like adventure. That's what we like. So when you're booking other suppliers and the florist might say, "What's your theme?" You're like, "Oh, adventure. I want really adventurous flowers." And the florist will be like, "Oh, that's exciting." Or it might be your engagement or your proposal, they'd been really traditional, they got the family together, you were at a dinner, you were asked in front of everybody, and it was all a community. And actually, that's what's important to you, and you love that sense of community. So then maybe when you're talking to your caterers, you're like, "We like that sense of community and sharing. We actually want to have like a head carver on each table. They get their little apron, and everyone's sharing together. I mean, mix the tables up. So there's not like, oh, my friends are all on one table, your friends are all on another table. You kind of like mix up the tables. Good tip. I would suggest always mixing up the tables so it doesn't get all cliquey. And you have a meal that is shared in more ways than just all eating at the same time. So when people say, what's your theme? It actually goes deeper than that. It's what has brought you together? What do you already have? What makes you tick? What do you want more of? So it it is actually genuinely important that you look at what you already have, because it does honestly curb the overwhelm. Because you think, oh, do you know what? I've actually got an Art Deco ring. I love that kind of classic design. Oh, so when I'm wedding dress shopping, maybe I'm going to start there. I'm going to start with what I already know. I know I like that Art Deco design. Fine. Oh gosh, when we start venue shopping, let's start Googling Art Deco style wedding venues. So you have a thread that just gives you some kind of anchor and tether and guideline. Even if you're just using it as a sense of direction, it is somewhere to start. It's not the be all and end all. It's not, yes, our wedding theme is Art Deco. That's what the style is, because actually, like I said right at the beginning, the theme of your day is a wedding. So think wedding. What does a wedding look like to you? And start there. So start with what you already have, pick it apart, see what you like, say no to anything that isn't that. So don't start saying yes to things you don't like. Say no to things that aren't what you like, and say yes to more of what you love. Hope that's helpful. And once you've done all of that, that could be actually an early doors conversation with me. You've got engaged, you're like, oh, where do I start? It might start with a wedding planner, it might start with a venue, it might start with me. But we will, each of those people will discover through conversations or discovery calls, maybe a meet, maybe a tour of the venue, what it is you like. And gradually you will start working out your drive, what really lights you up as a couple, what makes you think, oh, the day's going to be really amazing, I'm so excited. And do more of that. So in the ceremony, when it comes to me, or if you're going to go for a vicar or a registrar or someone from your religious doctrine, they will also ask, so why are you here? What does a wedding look like to you? And you're like, oh, well, actually, we're about journeying and discovering new places and new beginnings. And that will help them go, okay, well, in which case, there's these couple of readings that might be helpful. There's this author that has that kind of vibe. Are you foodies? Um, are you bookworms? There's so much out there that, yes, it can be completely overwhelming. And then you end up on Pinterest just diving down a hole. And then you realize you've liked all these boards. And then when you look at it, you think, oh God, they've got nothing in common. But just keep looking and think, okay, what have they got in common? Is it that you like structure? Is it that you like a schedule? And you're like, actually, no, do you know what? I like flow. So you've liked it because the dress is really flowy, the bouquet is really flowy, the music's all slushy and flowy, the your hair is all flowy. And actually you go, oh, that's the design I'm looking at. I like the flow. And then you think, okay, well, as an energy, I like flow. Or do you like things to stop and start and stop and start and have very clear borders? Some people really like that. And now we come to this. And now we come to this. Whereas other people just like it all to, you know, just be a big wedding pot of gorgeousness. But you will know. But it's that discovering that's the important bit to do. That's the really exciting bit of the journey. But it is key. And it is quite hard because at the start you're like, I'm just getting married. That's my theme. That's my, what do you mean? What's my theme? A wedding. But a wedding actually looks quite different to everybody. So if you've been to a wedding, have a look back and go, what do you remember for starters? And why do you remember it? Because it made you feel good, because it caught your eye, because it was great conversation. Always start with what you already know. And from there, you will find your answers. And that will feed into your ceremony, which will feed into the heart of the day, which will feed into the energy of the whole day, and will make your day very memorable for all the right reasons, because it will have you and your partner stamped all over it. It's very satisfying. So do take a moment, work out what you already have, work out what you already know, and do more of what you love. Thanks very much. Hopefully I'll see you next week. So remember, Helen Noble, Celebrant of Surrey. You can find me on my website, helen-noble.co.uk, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Celebrant of Surrey. Take care. Lots of love.